How's it going? Business law, employment law students. This is week number 3. It is Thursday. It's about 11 o'clock here. I am finally getting into doing this video. I apologize. My schedule is really what's going to dictate when I get the video out. Unfortunately, it's been pretty busy and hectic, so I try to get it out as soon as possible. But I apologize for the delay. Either way, so this week we looked at, of course, Chapter 5, which deals with affirmative action, and Chapter 6, which is race and color discrimination. The case we're studying this week is Rico versus Di Stefano. And in this case, it's a firefighter case, and the test, they were claiming desperate impact. So I wanted to talk about desperate impact versus what's called desperate treatment. And they're very similar, with the one big exception that desperate impact doesn't necessarily have to be intentional. It could be rules that are set up. There's several cases that are out there. You'll find a couple, Harvard against the student population that is of an Asian orient. They sued Harvard for desperate impact. Desperate impact often is referred to an unintentional discrimination, whereby desperate treatment will be specific to they intentionally try to discriminate against someone. So there's a difference between those two, because sometimes in business especially, we create a rule, or we're hiring practices where we don't intentionally try to discriminate against a certain category that's protected by Title VII, but because of the way we structured maybe the interview, or possibly the way we structure the recruitment process, then we are creating unintentionally. It wasn't part of what we wanted to do. It's just unintentionally we're creating desperate impact, which a group of people that were protected by Title VII will say, wait a second, your practice is creating discrimination. Even though you didn't intend it to happen, it's still creating discrimination. And thankfully, the law allows a remedy to that. We should be able to correct that and be able to fix it without getting into major problems, right? But desperate treatment, though, that's very specific. They're doing it on purpose. They're trying to discriminate against someone that's protected in their class. The other thing I want you to understand is a lot of people drop the word discrimination and races very often in our society, yet very few people really understand what those words mean. Partiality and preference. And I'm not defending racism by any means. I am not. But people drop that word so easily. And in business, it's very scary when you say something like that, because it's not about, a feeling or a concept. It's actually a legal problem. So we have to be careful when we use terms like that, and understand what we're referring to, in regards to being biased towards something. Doesn't always make that to be a racial intentional thing. So when we look at this discriminating part of things, we have to understand the heart of it. Where is it coming from? Is it intentionally discriminating, versus is it discriminating because we weren't trying to, it just happened to fall that way? So in this case, of course, you see that you have this test that's being administered, and people feel that a certain categories of individuals feel like this test is being discriminatory, reverse discriminating against whites and Latinx firefighters, and it's allowing the African American firefighters to have a leverage. And the whole purpose of affirmative action and all these other rules are to balance out the field. And it's not giving someone preference. It's literally allowing someone who had normally not have that opportunity to be able to have an opportunity for that. And there's a fine balance between that, because then you can, in certain situations, I'm not saying this one, but in certain situations, you can create an environment where then you reverse discriminate and you create a desperate impact situation. So there is a fine line with this. affirmative action, as I mentioned in my previous video, one of the most beneficial groups are women. They're considered in our work environment a minority. So the sexual part of it, the not sexual, but the sex part of it, in regards to your gender, there's a discriminating effort that was done in America, maybe unintentionally or intentionally, in certain cases. So women have been able to advance in our business world because of that. We now see successful women CEOs running companies, departments, political offices, which is awesome. They bring a different mindset, a different view, a different perspective. So while we're going through this, I want you to understand, especially going into business, is that everything has to be defined properly. We can't just drop words out there and say, this is, they're discriminating against me. We have to understand why they're discriminating. How do you feel? Is it a protected class? So the other thing is, we talked in other classes about ethical perspectives, right? And how this is that gray area. Think about the protected classes that Title VII protects. Okay, there's classes that Title VII does not protect, where someone told you something like, I don't want to categorize anyone, but if they said something that's not part of that protected class and we're firing you because of this, and it has nothing to do with those protected classes, there's no legal ramification for that. They could have discriminated, but doesn't mean they discriminated against a protected class. I was born with green eyes, and if someone said, you know what, we just don't want green eye people here, that's not a protected class. That they can decide to do that, especially in Georgia, we're a right to work state. So as long as the protected classes are not violated, this discrimination process is not, although it is defined as discrimination, it's not a protected class, so it can technically be done. Is it ethical? Whole different conversation for a different subject. Is it legal? I would say possibly. There's no real, I mean, obviously I'm not a judge, but there's no real evidence that a discrimination was done against a protected class. So yeah, I don't know if, I know that's a very fine, tricky topic to understand, but I wanted to touch bases with you on that. All right, so that being said, so next week, guys, we have our midterm week. I want to give you sort of an idea, or let you know what to expect. So week number 4 is our midterm week, and in week number 4, we're going to do 2 chapters as we always do, but instead of giving you a case study, you do your midterm. So there's no discussion next week. You get a break from that. The midterm is really composed of 40 questions. There is no time limit. I removed that away, so you can take your time, but there's only one try. It's only one shot. So make sure that you have prepared properly, because as I have mentioned in the past, the questions from your weekly quizzes are the questions that are used to create the midterm. So none of these questions should be surprising or new to you. I do not create a study guide. I do not tell you which questions you got wrong on your test. I think that should be an effort that you put into figuring this out. I'm not going to give you the answers to the midterm. You should have already figured that out. And if you didn't, then that's something that I feel that you should go back and study. So I hope you understand that that's what I try to do. All right. I will post a video next week. You don't have to reply to it. The video is only going to be to touch bases with you, give you some more information. 40 questions, multiple choice, as is your weekly quizzes. No time limit, but you got one shot to do it. So I, as you know, do not offer extensions. I do not go back. I do not go forward. So I want to make sure that you guys get all the points you possibly can. That being said, I'm reviewing all of the discussions from week before, not this week, but the week before, so I should be able to put a grade in. I try to grade the discussions because it takes me about a week to get through them all, to be honest with you, but I should be able to put a grade in hopefully by Monday, the week after it closes. So it gives me a week to go through all the discussions, and then I should be able to grade your stuff. All right. Other than that, it's going to be raining the next couple of days. As you can tell, I haven't even taken off my rain jacket. I'm I've been here for a couple hours, but it's just kind of one of those days where you feel gloomy and I don't know. Maybe I need another cup of coffee. I showed this to the principals of management group, but this is one of my favorite cups. I'm a big fan of The Office, Dunder Mifflin, if anybody's ever watched it. But my daughter bought me this when she went to New York several years ago, but it broke. The handle broke. So yesterday I sent her a message and I said, hey, if you want to buy me something for my birthday, you can send me a brand new World's Best Boss Cup from Dunder Mifflin. So hopefully she didn't react, so she kept me on red. She didn't answer my text message. So not a lot of good hopes that that's going to happen. So anyhow, other than that, what else can I tell you guys? It's going to be rainy, stay dry out there, but at least it's warm, so you don't have to worry about that cold air. It was brutal a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago, more than likely. It's just cold, but we finally got through that. Hopefully, we start leveling off at a better temperature here in Georgia. Um, I think that's about it. I don't think I have anything else for you other than I wish you luck in your midterm. I will post a video. Keep um, keep vigilant. Watch for that video. I will announce something that will help everyone. So please make sure you watch it. Other than that, let me know how you're doing this week. I hope everyone's doing well. Wish you the very best on your test and have a good week, everyone. Until next time.